I, Omar Abdullah, having been nominated as a candidate to fill a seat in the House of the People, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, and that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India.
Jammu and Kashmir is going to witness its first elections after the abrogation of Article 370 and downgrading from state to a union territory. These elections will definitely be different from the elections that we have witnessed on the ground. To speak more about this, I have with me the former Chief Minister and also who has been in the Parliament before. Do you find any difference on the ground in terms of the elections you have fought before and now, since there is no 370 or the state has been bifurcated and downgraded?
Well, the most visible difference is in the status of J&K. This is the first election any of us are fighting in our lives as a union territory. Before this, we fought as a state and we fought as the most empowered state in the union. Today, we are perhaps the most disempowered people. We have been disempowered in every sort of way that you can imagine. So for us, that obviously remains the most critical difference.
We've seen that your contenders on this seat have been name calling you or using certain things to tag you, but we haven't seen a direct attack from you. Why is there been this difference?
That's never been my style, and it never will be. They're welcome to call me whatever they like, say whatever they like. It was sort of, as a child, we were always taught that sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So they can call me whatever they like. The answer will come on the 20th of May during polling, and then on the 3rd of June when the votes are counted.
Do you think that development is an agenda in this election? Because we have seen every political party almost talk about 370 statehood and the voice of Jammu and Kashmir being taken to the parliament.
Development is not as much of an issue as it ordinarily would have been, but that's for two reasons. One, development is not really an issue for regional parties like ours, particularly for parliament elections, and that too a parliament election that is taking place under governor's rule, because there is neither a track record to defend nor a track record of another parties to attack. But development, and also we're all acutely aware that come July, August, we'll be doing the same thing all over again, but for the assembly elections. Clearly, I think development, local governance, representation of people, the problems that they face with regard to electricity, water, etc., these will all become issues for the assembly election in a couple of months' time.
Recently, I spoke to Mehbooba Mufti on a campaign. She said that the party was not the first to attack the National Conference. She said that it was Omar Abdullah in Kishtwar or Doda in 2020 when Omar Abdullah attacked the PDP for the first time. I was asking her about you staying away and not being part of the larger alliance.
The attacks on the National Conference have been relentless from the PDP, from its senior leadership. Now, I don't offhand recollect what she thinks was an attack against her party, but even if it was so random and so one-off that she struggled to find sort of an event that she could highlight. For us, it has been part of a series. It has been relentlessly at her behest, at the behest of her senior party leaders, in her PDP raising day, on social media. I mean, it reached the sort of the realm of the ridiculous, where her social media advisor, who also doubles as her daughter, sort of wanted to comment on Pakistan's election and somehow found a way to include 1987 into that, conveniently forgetting that her own grandfather was the PCC president at that time and part and parcel of that 87 election. But that's neither here nor there. The fact is that the PDP, for whatever reason, chose at that time to target the national conference, but even that was not the reason for the decision that we took. At the end of the day, J&K had 6 seats. Now, you needed a formula by which to divide those seats. We used exactly the same yardstick for these parliament elections as we used for the DDC polls a couple of years ago. Unfortunately, the formula suited the PDP then, it didn't suit them now, and they've done what they've done.
Interesting fact is that you have been one of those politicians who have said that yes, the violence graph has come down. But can that be somehow indicator of normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir? That the BJP is saying.
Well, they can claim as much as they like. The fact that they don't have candidates, or at least official candidates in this election, tells you a lot about what the BJP is claiming and what they know to be the reality. The reality is that no matter what they claim, the people of Jammu and Kashmir, they have failed to win the hearts and minds of the people, and I include Ladakh in that as well. The fact that they had to change their poster boy of 5th August 2019 and not give him a mandate in this election, again tells you a lot about the BJP, its politics, how far they have gone from actually winning the hearts and the minds of the people. The test of their claims would have been in this election, but they've conveniently chosen to hide behind other people. They are very much part of the poll process, but they don't have candidates in the field of their own.
We've seen that the Prime Minister has been attacking two mainstream political parties in Jammu and Kashmir, that is the National Conference and the PDP. He has been talking about Parivarwad and the sort of allegations that have been made against your party precisely. How do you respond to that?
I don't really, because as I've always said, the BJP, its leadership, they have nothing against so-called Parivarwad. Their angst is against Parivar that are opposed to the BJP. Otherwise, there is enough Parivarwad in the BJP itself. If I'm not mistaken, 1/5 of the BJP's tickets have gone to people who are related in some way or the other to political families. They very conveniently take members of political families, having criticized them for being a part of another party, but forget all about it when they're part of the BJP. I can cite numerous cases and incidents or instances of so-called political dynasties that are fighting elections on BJP ticket, but that doesn't seem to bother the BJP.
You also talked about extensively about these laws, particularly the PSA or slapping of certain laws, these laws on youngsters. If Omar Abdullah is chosen to power from this seat, will there be also talk about removal of Armed Force Special Powers Act?
Of course there will, and we will take off from where the Honourable Home Minister left it. He somehow has been able to sort of bring the Armed Forces Special Powers Act back into the discussion. So we will take off from that. We have an assurance from him now that that Armed Forces Special Powers Act will be revoked from Jammu and Kashmir. So we will push for that. But I mean, the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, at least in today's situation, doesn't have as much bearing on people's day-to-day lives as UAPA and PSA have. So more than some sort of relief on the Armed Forces Special Powers Act front is concerned, I would like to see relief on the UAPA and the PSA front. Now the UAPA unfortunately is a central law, so there's not much I can do with that. But as far as PSA is concerned, National Conference is committed that should the party be returned to power at the end of the assembly elections in September, one of the first things we will do is remove PSA from the statute books.
India Alliance, again, there was not a lot of seat sharing that took place, particularly in West Bengal or other seats. We had a PDP which went out of this particular J&K state. How do you see the future of India Alliance, because it has been built to defeat the BJP?
I think by and large the India bloc has quite successfully negotiated seat sharing arrangements. I was perhaps one of the most skeptical people, and I was pretty public with my skepticism about seat sharing. Truth be told, I didn't expect any seat sharing arrangement in UP. I thought it would fall apart, but it didn't. I was perhaps one of the last people to expect a seat sharing arrangement between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress. But chaliye, they didn't manage in Punjab, but in Delhi, Haryana, places like that, they have a good working arrangement with the Aam Aadmi Party today. Similarly, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, there are numerous states where seat sharing arrangements within the India bloc were quite successfully concluded. So yes, West Bengal remains perhaps a shining example of where we didn't manage. I hope that Mamata Banerjee Sahiba's confidence is well placed and she on her own can deny BJP seats in West Bengal, and if that is the case, then so be it.
How do you see these phases which have taken place? How precisely are you sure that this particular phase has gotten India Alliance a good number, and that's why political parties have been talking about communalizing these polls?
Well, political parties are not talking about communalizing them. Unfortunately, the communalizing started by the BJP, and it started soon after the trends of the first phase were visible. So honestly, I have no means of assessing how these polls have gone, except by the public speeches of senior BJP leaders and the way in which minority bashing has now become sort of front and center of their election campaign. Clearly, the first two phases, for whatever reason, the BJP supporters have been less than enthusiastic about coming out and voting, and sort of when one reads objective commentary about these elections, the one thing that keeps getting repeated is that the BJP doesn't seem to have an issue on which to galvanize, which is rather surprising, because you would have thought that just 370 alone would have been enough to win them the election, but clearly it's not. You would have thought that the Ram Mandir would have been more than enough to win them a handsome mandate, but clearly not. The fact that they still have to resort to minority bashing, scaring Hindus about their Mangal Sutra, claiming that Muslims will claim all their lands and that Muslims will take all the resources. Nothing could be further from the truth. Today, Muslims as a whole are perhaps the most disadvantaged community in the country. But that doesn't stop the BJP from using us as a political tool to beat.
My last question is that today CNN News 18 did an interview of Amit Shah. He said that CAA and 370 have been minority appeasement by some political parties to gain votes. Do you think that's true?
So then they accept that CAA is actually a religious thing. Because up until now they've been telling people that CAA has no religion. But clearly, from what you're telling me, they have accepted that CAA is directed against minorities and particularly against Muslims. So, at least that one bogey has been put to rest. We know that CAA has a communal agenda. As far as 370 is concerned, please tell me, how was 370 minority appeasement? 370 was not given to a particular community in Jammu and Kashmir. It was given to Jammu and Kashmir. That Jammu and Kashmir includes Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Bodhs, Christians, everybody, those who belong to no religion. 370 granted people ownership of their land, which hasn't been done anywhere else in this country. The land to the tiller policy or program that was implemented in the 50s, tell me, was only one religion given those lands? Those lands went to everybody. Today, if you see, the strongest voices for some sort of protection, constitutional protection, are actually coming from Ladakh. Now that is an area that had celebrated 5th August 2019, but today that is an area where people are sort of on relay hunger strikes. So 370, or the constitutional protections afforded by 370, they had no religious color. They were absolutely free of any religious bias. So you can say a lot of things about 370, but 370 in no way is minority appeasement.
Thank you so much. So as you heard from Umar that yes, there's a lot on cards and the National Conference plans to take it on in the Parliament if chosen to power. With Bashir Lone, Ishan Wani for CNN News 18.